Good morning. Can people hear me right now? Thank you. I'm Richard Bookwalter, President of the California Board of Occupational Therapy. I'd like to welcome you this morning to our November 14th, 2019 board meeting. I'd like to call the meeting to order and have roll call. Denise Miller will call roll. Thank you, Denise, for filling in.
You're welcome. Beata? Here. Jeff?
Present.
Richard?
Present.
Denise? Here.
Absent today are Sharon Pavlovich, our Vice President, Laura Haith, a member. So we wish them well. We do have a quorum. Under item number 2, my remarks, we will not have a quorum tomorrow. So I need to make that announcement today. And to discuss changes to the agenda related to that, we will have, because we will have only 3 of us here tomorrow, there's no quorum, we can discuss informational items only, and we'll need to move some other items to future future meeting agenda. The items that will be moved and not discussed tomorrow are items number 10, 13, 15, and 16, all of which require deliberation of the board and possible recommendations and votes and whatnot. The 3 items that we will cover tomorrow will be items 11, 12, and 14 on the agenda. So 10, 13, 15, and 16 off the agenda, pushed to a future agenda, and 11, 12, and 14 will be discussed tomorrow. I just want to announce that today in case anybody, plan to come tomorrow for those other items. I'll have no other remarks at this time. Any board member remarks? Hearing none. Excuse me. We'll move on to item number 4, public comment session for items not on the agenda. I have one. Do we have any? First of all, I'd like to also recognize, actually I should ask our public if they would like to introduce themselves at this time. If they have any comments, they can bring them up at the same time. It's not obligatory that you identify yourself, but you may do so, and at this time you could make any suggestion for a future agenda item. You want to start? Sure. Thank you. Anybody else? Okay. Any other public comments for items not on the agenda? Okay, I have one. We do have one to add to the agenda. A letter received from Josh Dowd, OTR /L. I'll read the letter aloud. Dear board members, please accept this formal request to be added to the February 2020 agenda to address the surrendering of my California State Occupational Therapy license. Due to current bylaws, there is no verbiage allowing for the surrendering of a stipulated OT license without revocation and further action taken upon the licensee. I have never practiced nor intend on practicing in the state of California in the future. As a result, I am not able to complete the criteria necessary to satisfy the action taken against my license by the state of California. My wife and I are participating in contract work and intend on returning to our home state of Alabama upon completion of our Great American Tour. I understand this is not the first time this situation has come up. I've heard for some time now the rumbles of verbiage being added or changed to the current bylaws, which would allow for such circumstances. My objective of adding myself to the February 2020 agenda is to help initiate movement towards this resolution. I trust the board to be representative of a profession that prides itself on innovation, flexibility, and adaptation, and looking forward to an expeditious resolution to this matter. Thank you for your time and consideration. Josh Dowd, OTRL. So I will work with the executive officer to put this item as an item of discussion on the February 2020 agenda so that we can discuss it further. All right. Any other public comment? Hearing none, let's move into item number 5, which is petitioner hearings. And I'd like, Your Honor, would you like to introduce yourself?
Sure. I'm Dina Coggins, Administrative Law Judge with the Office of Administrative Hearings. I was assigned to sit with the board
are today on these petition matters. The first case to be called is Molly McCormick. So just come forward. You'll have a seat at the table in front of you. How's that? All right, let's go on the record. Cormick. This matter is being heard before the Board of Occupational Therapy, OAH case number 2019080191, agency number 2019000585. My name is Dina Coggins, the administrative law judge assigned to hear this matter. May I take the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General, please?
Caitlin Doherty, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Government Code Section 11522 and Business and Professions Code Section 2570.32, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the panel in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. I'm here to ensure that the panel has adequate information from which to make a decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McCormick is present here. You've decided to represent yourself today, is that right?
Yes.
All right. In this proceeding, the board is concerned about any rehabilitation since your license was disciplined. The Deputy Attorney General will proceed first in providing a resuscitation of the evidence. There will be information provided in a binder. That information has been provided to you. And there will be an orientation provided. After that, you will have an opportunity to make your presentation. You will be questioned by the Deputy Attorney General today and also the board members if they have any questions for you. After the hearing, I will draft a proposed decision that will be reviewed by the board members, and then they will have an opportunity to adopt that decision or modify it if they would choose to do so. Do you have any questions?
Just when will I know what that decision is?
It will be in the future, at least 30 days from now.
Okay, thank you.
Right. What I'll do is put you under oath if you'll stand and raise your right hand.
Of course.
Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Have a seat, please. Ms. Doherty, if you'll provide historical background of the case.
I'd like to first go over all the exhibits in the binders provided. What's been first marked as Exhibit 1 is the notice of hearing and proof of service for the matter today. I'd ask that this be admitted for jurisdictional purposes.
If you are behind tab 1, and I see you are, Ms. McCormick, there's a notice of hearing, and what's happening now is the Deputy Attorney General is asking that this item come into evidence. Do you have any objection?
I do not.
All right, it is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 2 is the board's license summary for Petitioner. I'd ask that this be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection to the admission of what's been marked Exhibit 2?
Not at all.
Exhibit 2 is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 3 is the original petition packet with accompanying documents. The board members and petitioner have been provided with a copy of the same exhibit, and it generally consists of the following: a notice or a petition for reinstatement of license dated April 11th, 2019, letters of recommendation written in 2019, a certificate of completion of PC 100 dated December 9th, 2013, a DMV notice of completion dated August 12th, 2016, a request for live scan service, a copy of a conviction record for People versus Molly C. Savinkis in the Superior Court of San Diego, case number C339155, a copy of a conviction record for People versus Molly Savinkis in the Superior Court of San Diego for case number C33250-2-01. I'd ask that Exhibit 3 be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection?
No.
It's admitted.
Exhibit 4 consists of Following that is a stipulated surrender of license in order for case number OA 2013-70. Following that stipulated surrender is the original accusation filed in this matter. I'd ask that the board's documents and correspondence be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection?
No.
All right. It is admitted.
Now I'll provide a brief background of petitioner's license history. The board issued petitioner occupational therapist assistant license number OTA 2516 on March 28, 2013. On July 30th, 2015, the board filed accusation number OA 2013-70 against respondent. The underlying acts and the accusation are as follows. On or about 2014, petitioner was convicted of driving under the influence of alcohol. And on or about 2013, petitioner was also arrested for possessing methamphetamine in violation of Health and Safety Code Section 11377, Subdivision A. Petitioner's convictions regarding this possession was dismissed under Section PC 1000.3 for petitioner complying with her deferred judgment. On January 6, 2015, petitioner voluntarily surrendered her license based on the accusation filed against her occupational therapist assistant's license. On April 11, 2019, petitioner filed her petition for reinstatement of her occupational therapist license. Petitioner is here today asking that her occupational therapy assistant's license be reinstated. It is petitioner's burden to demonstrate that she is rehabilitated and safe to practice, and that her license should be reinstated. Therefore, we have nothing further at this time, but reserve the right to cross-examine petitioner or call her if she chooses not to testify today. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. McCormick, this is your opportunity to present your case. Do you have any additional documents that you would like the board to review?
I do not have additional documents.
Okay. Do you have any witnesses that you intend to call to testify on your behalf?
Not at this time, but I do have my husband present in the courtroom.
All right.
In the room.
When you're ready, you can proceed with your presentation.
Okay. Well, it's nice to be here with all of you. It's been years in the making, and I did make the mistakes that I was accused of making. There were some challenges that I've had to face in my life, and through a process of 12-step recovery, as well as through my spiritual beliefs, I have made a complete turnaround of my life. I am a trusted member of my community and of my church. I'm employed by a church, and I am now a connections pastor as well. I'm licensed by the Wesleyan Church as a licensed minister and working towards ordination by them as well. I have a sponsor who has a sponsor, and I work a program. I'm also a sponsor of 2 women. One of them included a letter that you will have with you in front of you. And everything's just very different for me now. And I really would like to return to the field that I grew to love so deeply in college. I never really had an opportunity to practice. And I'm really looking forward to doing it now with this version of myself, as opposed to the one who was struggling with all those different challenges in the past. And I thank you all for listening to me, for hearing me, and for your consideration.
Are there any questions by the Deputy Attorney General?
Yes. Have you had any other criminal convictions that the board is unaware of?
No, none.
Have the 2 criminal convictions mentioned today been expunged?
No.
Do you plan on having those convictions expunged?
I believe that the probationary period for the driving under the influence conviction just ended this past summer. And I think it's a 10-year waiting period. After that first initial 5 years, it's a 10-year period that before you can move to do that. As for the other charge, that was dismissed, so that's not something that would need to be expunged.
And what is your sobriety date?
7/6/14.
And what steps are you currently taking to maintain your sobriety?
I attend meetings regularly. I actually run a 12-step program at my church. I'm in charge of the entire ministry. And I attend secular meetings outside my church as well, AA usually. And I have a sponsor who works with me on a regular basis. And I also sponsor 2 women to give back.
Are you currently seeing a therapist?
I'm not.
Did you ever receive inpatient treatment for your addiction?
No.
What are some positive things working as a minister at a church has done for you?
Where do I begin with that? Well, if I might be so bold to say in here, a relationship with Jesus has changed my life. And working as a minister in my church, I get to help other people come into a relationship with Jesus. My church has the mission of helping people find and follow Jesus 7 days a week. And it was attending my church that I really believe made the difference for me. And so I get to give back by leading others in that same direction and being able to relate to them through these experiences that I've had. Because in my community, there's so many others like me who haven't been able to find that recovery yet.
Thank you. Is there specific tools that you've learned to help ensure your sobriety, whether it's something you learned in AA, church, or church?
Absolutely. Well, for one thing, working through the 12 steps changed me. So I'm different than I was, and I don't cope with things in the same ways. One of the things that I do if I'm struggling with something emotionally is I pray. I also regularly read my Bible, and I'm accountable to others who mentor me on a regular basis, my sponsor, but also other pastors in our church. I said I have worked all 12 steps, and working with other women in recovery keeps that fresh for me as well. And I have the opportunity to mentor all of those who come to our 12-step recovery program at our church as well.
And as part of your criminal probation was biological fluid testing and urinalysis required?
No.
And are you currently still attending AA?
Yes.
And you also are running an AA?
I am running a Celebrate Recovery.
And do you have a relapse prevention plan in place?
Absolutely.
And what is that plan?
Don't drink. But seriously, I don't go to bars. I don't go to parties where alcohol is served. I always have another person with me who doesn't drink when I do have to attend a function where there may be alcohol. Although in all honesty, it's not a temptation anymore. I've been completely relieved of that.
And if you had a need or urge to drink, do you have an individual you can turn to?
I do. I have a number of them.
It's been about 4 years since you have not practiced. Have you taken any continuing education or any courses to stay up to date with everything in the field?
I haven't.
Is there anything, if your license was reinstated on a probationary status, is there anything you would do to get yourself up to speed?
Yes, I'm very excited to get myself up to speed. And I have quite a few friends and colleagues in the field who have offered to allow me to come and observe and be there with them. Because a lot's changed in just this couple of years. I have family in the skilled nursing area, and their documentation has changed. So many things have changed. So I'm looking forward to pursuing those offers with the people I have relationships with in mentoring me back into the field, as well as pursuing continuing education units. And I would like to inquire at my local college if there are any additional courses that I can take that I haven't already taken.
And as part of your stipulated surrender, you were ordered to pay the agency costs of a reduced amount of $1,500 prior to the issuance of your license being reinstated. Are you able to pay that amount?
Yes.
And when your license was issued in 2013, how many years were you actually able to practice and utilize it?
I didn't.
So is it your testimony today that you've never practiced as an occupational therapy assistant?
I took a job in Arizona, and I went for a day, and I wasn't in a good place at that time, and so I ended up not accepting that job. But so it was one day of actual practice of employment.
I have nothing further for this petitioner at this time.
Thank you. This is the opportunity for the board to ask any questions it may have of the petitioner.
Well, one, I'd thank you for all the questions. You covered most of them that I had notes jotted down on. I think our biggest concern is you've never practiced before and you haven't done any CE. So not only is there something different, if you've had education on the past, it's been a while that you've actually sat in a classroom and worked through the process and did you do field works before you?
I did.
Okay, so you had some field work experience.
Yes.
From that work, what do you feel was the most impactful on you on what the occupation entails?
Well, I actually did 14 weeks in skilled nursing, and I got to be a part of people working on their ADLs on a regular basis. I really enjoyed that and found that I really love the aging population.
Very good. I don't have any further questions at the time.
Hello.
Hi.
Thank you. Thank you for all of your information, and I would like to continue to extend good words to you towards your road to recovery.
Thank you.
Specifically on the issue of continuing education. So just to make sure, what if you were to be relicensed, which practice area would you be in? Which one appeals to you?
Skilled nursing.
Okay. And is that what you were working towards when you had this interruption in time?
Yes.
Okay. And if you had to, if a requirement of your license being reinstated required a more specific formal training in rehab towards your education, more formal continuing education, more supervision, would you be willing to do that?
Absolutely. I would welcome it.
And you'd be okay with the costs associated with that and things that go along with that?
Yes.
Okay. And just to make sure, this is really just a point of clarification because we have had so much notes before us. You did not have inpatient recovery, but you've had extensive outpatient recovery. Is that correct?
That is correct.
Okay. And how has it been 5 full years of outpatient recovery?
It's been 5 years, 4 months, and 8 days.
That you've been in outpatient. Just curious, any reason you opted not to, were you ordered for inpatient?
I was not.
Okay.
No.
All right. Thank you for answering my questions.
Thank you.
Thank you. No further board questions. Do you have any closing remarks?
Just thank you so much for your time and consideration.
Any closing remarks?
Not at this time.
Thank you. This concludes the petition hearing in this matter. The record is closed. The case is submitted. We can go off the record. If you'll step over and grab a court reporter detail report.
Okay.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
Michael Jones will step up, please. Let's go on the record, please. Today is November 14th, 2019, and we are here in the matter of the petition for reinstatement of license by Michael Jones. This matter is being heard before the Board of Occupational Therapy, OEH case number 2019-080-729, and agency case number 2019-000-683. My name is Dina Coggins. I'm the administrative law judge assigned to hear this matter. May I take the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General, please?
Caitlin Doherty, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Government Code Section 11522 and Business and Professions Code Section 2570.32, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the panel in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. I'm here to ensure that the panel has adequate information from which to make a decision. Thank you.
Thank you. And Mr. Jones is present today. You're representing yourself, is that right?
Yes, ma'am.
All right. In this proceeding, the board is concerned with your rehabilitation since your license was disciplined. You were in the room here, so you saw how the proceedings occur. First of all, Ms. Doherty will give a packet of information to the board. You have that information there, and then she'll provide an orientation of this matter. After that, you'll have an opportunity to present your case. You can make a presentation. Any witnesses that you would like to testify can testify. And also, if you have any other documents at the board that you'd like the board to review, you would provide those to us at that time. After that, I'll draft a proposed decision for the board to review and determine whether or not it will adopt that decision. That won't occur today. 30 days will take me to draft that proposed decision, and then you'll get a decision in the mail sometime after that. Any questions before we proceed? All right. If you'll stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes.
Have a seat, please. Ms. Doherty.
I would first like to mark for identification Exhibit 1, which consists of the notice of hearing and proof of service. I'd ask that this be admitted for jurisdictional purposes at this time.
Mr. Jones, Ms. Doherty is going to go through the binder here and ask that the documents contained in the binder be admitted into evidence such that the board can consider those documents. After she introduces each exhibit, then I'll ask you if you have any objection to its admission. Do you have any objection to the documents behind tab 1 coming
No.
into evidence?
No.
Okay, hearing no objection, it's admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 2 is the board's license summary for Petitioner. I'd ask that this be admitted for all purposes.
Any objection?
No.
Exhibit 2 is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 3 is the original petition packet with accompanying documents. The board member and petitioner have been provided a copy of the same set of this exhibit. That exhibit generally consists of the petition for reinstatement of occupational therapy assistant license dated June 12th, 2019, 3 letters of reference written in 2019, and Superior Court of the County of Orange minutes for case number 11HM14791MA, for case number 11HM15418MA, and for case number 11HM18298MA. I'd ask that Exhibit 3 be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection?
No.
It's admitted.
Following that, what's been pre-marked as Exhibit 4 is the board's supporting documents and correspondence. It's a letter from the board to petitioner dated August 2nd, 2019. Board decision and order in the matter of the accusation against Michael A. Jones, case number OA 2010-604. Following that is the accusation in this matter for case number OA 2010-604. I'd ask that Exhibit 4 be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection?
No.
It's been admitted.
Thank you. I'll now provide a brief license history background of Petitioner's license. The board issued Petitioner Occupational Therapy Assistant License number OTA 1091 on January 31st, 2003. On or about January 15th, 2013, the board filed an accusation against Petitioner's license. The underlying offenses on that accusation were on May 1st, 2012, Petitioner was convicted for driving under the influence of alcohol with a blood alcohol level of 0.8% or higher. On May 1st, 2012, Petitioner was convicted for vandalism, disturbing the peace, and resisting and obstructing an officer for an incident that occurred on July 17, 2011. Petitioner was also convicted on May 1st, 2012 for driving under the influence of alcohol with a blood alcohol level of 0.8% or higher and a hit and run on August 12, 2011. On August 12, 2012, Petitioner was convicted again for vandalism and assault on a peace officer that took place on March 23, 2012. As a result of the accusation being filed against Petitioner's license, Petitioner entered into a stipulated surrender to surrender his license to the board. The board adopted this stipulated settlement on July 19, 2013. The final decision and order surrendering Petitioner's license became effective on July 25, 2013. On June 12, 2019, Petitioner filed a petition for his occupational therapy assistant license to be reinstated. It is Petitioner's burden to demonstrate that he is rehabilitated and safe to practice and that his license should be reinstated. Therefore, we have nothing further at this time, but reserve the right to cross-examine Petitioner or call him if he chooses not to testify today. Thank you.
Thank you. This is your opportunity to present your case, Mr. Jones. You may testify on your own behalf. Do you have witnesses that you would like?
No, I do not.
Okay. And do you have any additional documents
No,
you
I
would
do
like?
not. No.
Okay. We can't talk over one another because our court reporter won't get it.
Sorry.
And so is that no?
No.
All right. This is your opportunity to present your case.
Well, I can't make any excuses for anything that happened back then. All I can say is during that time I was diagnosed with severe depression and anxiety, and I was prescribed certain medications which I abused with alcohol, and subsequently I would black out, and the psychiatrist prescribed clonopin, I guess, which is contraindicated for alcohol abuse, people that are alcoholics. So, I mean, I can't make excuses for what happened back then, except I was going through a lot of depression and anxiety and abused the medication that was being prescribed to me. I'm sorry, I'm extremely nervous.
Take your time.
Now I'm off all the medication. I've been sober for, 7 years. I don't know exact date. I just put it in the past and move past it. I just use meditation, mostly exercise, running, marathons. My wife is a therapist too, and I keep in touch with all of my friends that are therapists. I think it was the depression and anxiety that really did me in. That I just didn't take responsibility for my mental health back then. And it got the best of me. I don't know what else I could say. I mean, there's no excuse. So, I mean, it's been a long time. I'm mentally and physically healthy now. It's been almost 8 years. And I don't know, it's just been a long journey to get mentally healthy as well as physical. All I can do is apologize for that period.
Thank you. Any questions from the Deputy Attorney General?
Yes, thank you. Mr. Jones, are there any convictions that the board is unaware of today?
No.
Have any of your convictions listed today been expunged?
Not at this time. I've still got a couple more years I gotta wait.
And do you have any pending civil or criminal charges?
No.
Your petition fails to list any previous employment since
Right.
the surrender of your license.
I've been
you
doing construction, but under the table.
Can you explain to me, have you been doing construction the whole time, or?
Most of the time, heating and air conditioning. I tried to get letters, but it's not something they favor in construction if they know what you're trying to get to leave.
And what's your date of sobriety?
Like 2013.
And would you agree with me that your date of sobriety would be a significant date in your life?
Sure. But I will say it's not something that I focus on. It's something that I pushed in the past, and I'm moving forward. To me, it's like another obsession to count every day, month, all the time.
So you would say in 2013 is when
Yes.
that date occurred?
To be honest, yes.
Mr. Jones, if you'll wait until she finishes
Oh,
her question,
sorry.
pause for a moment and then answer.
I noticed on your petition you stated that you actually are still on Prozac. Is that correct?
No, I'm off it.
And when did you stop taking Prozac?
Maybe 6 months now, almost. Maybe less.
So about 6 months you haven't been taking any drugs. Is that correct?
I take trazodone for sleep, for insomnia.
And is that prescribed by a doctor?
Yes.
And do you attend any therapy?
No.
Do you attend AA?
No, not anymore.
When did you stop attending AA?
5 years ago, maybe. I completed the 18-month court order.
So is the only time you attended AA when it was court ordered?
No.
Did you attend it before or after the court order?
Before and after.
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that.
Before and after?
How long after would you say?
Maybe 6 months.
And why did you choose to stop going to AA?
I chose meditation, exercise, running, spending my time with positive people.
And while you were in AA, did you work the steps?
Yes.
What step did you get to?
All the way, 12th.
Can you tell me what step 4 is?
No.
Did you have a sponsor while in AA?
Yes.
What is something you've learned from your sponsor, whether about addiction or yourself?
How to avoid triggers for my specific self.
And how do you avoid those triggers?
I don't surround myself around people that drink or use any or abuse any substances.
Do you know what your triggers are?
Stress. Back then it was depression and anxiety, self-medicating.
Have you sought or attended any psychotherapy?
I had a psychiatrist, yes.
And do you still see that psychiatrist?
No, I did not.
And how long were you seeing a psychiatrist?
8 years.
And was that during the time all these incidents occurred?
Yeah.
Are you currently under the care of a doctor?
No.
You say no.
Yes.
But you have a prescription for tramadol,
For trazodone.
trazodone?
Yeah. I've been taking that for a long time.
What classes or steps have you taken to keep abreast of changes in the field since you surrendered your license?
No CEUs.
Have you done anything else besides, have you done anything
My wife is a CODA too as well, so we bounce off each other stuff all the time to help me keep up to date.
What assurances can you give the board that you are safe to practice, given that you last worked in the field about 6 years ago?
I'm beating the depression and anxiety, and I've been completely sober and mentally and physically healthy.
Have you taken any classes ordered by the criminal system?
No, just the alcohol program.
Do you have a relapse prevention plan?
Excuse me?
Do you have a relapse prevention plan in place?
No, I'm just making the choice not to go back there.
If your license was reinstated on a probationary status, would you be able to comply with all the board's terms of probation?
Yes,
Would you be able to afford the cost of that probation?
yes.
If your license was reinstated, what do you plan to do?
Probably go back with acute care, spinal cord injuries. It's my favorite area.
And why do you want to regain your license?
I find great joy in helping people, and I enjoyed working with the younger people, like brain injuries and spinal cord injuries.
And is that your long-term employment goal, to end up in that field?
Yes,
And if your license is reinstated, are you prepared to pay the board's costs that were part of your stipulated settlement of $2,385?
yes.
I have nothing further for this petitioner.
Now's the time for the board to ask any questions it may have of the petitioner.
Mr. Jones, thank you for your testimony. May I ask you how many years you worked before 6 years ago when you stopped working as an OTA?
10 years.
10 years. And you're practicing in spinal cord injury. Is that
That was my
one of?
favorite. Yeah.
Now, the board, when considering reinstatement of a license, has to consider the rehabilitation,
Sure.
evidence of rehabilitation. Do you have any other evidence, any evidence of rehabilitation other than what you've talked about so
No,
far today?
just
or
with the
presented?
documents I provided, the court ordered.
Getting back to your the information you provided about not being under the care of a physician or a psychiatrist in having a prescription for trazodone, is trazodone a prescription medication?
Oh, yes.
So who renews your
A general practitioner.
general practitioner?
Let him finish his question before you answer.
Okay, and how long have you been working with this general practitioner? Approximately
2 years. This one, yeah.
a couple of years. Okay.
It's a clinic.
And they're aware of your history, your substance
Yes.
prescription history and mental health history?
Yes.
Thank you. No further questions.
I have questions, if I may. Hello, thank you
Hi.
thank you for coming before us, and continued success on your recovery. I have a couple of questions for you specific to you've completed, just some factual things to make sure I have it. You completed an 18-month program, and anything else formal beyond that?
No.
Are you open to anything else beyond that? Beyond meditation, beyond running, beyond...
That's what's worked for me, but I would be open to counseling or something like that.
And how many years, again, specifically, I'm tying this into CEUs. This is where my question's going. Specifically, how many years have you not practiced as an OTA? Is it 6, is it 7, or is it 8?
It's about 8.
8.
At the time, I'm sorry, go ahead. At
Go.
the time the depression started, I stopped working because I knew I wasn't fit to be working.
So 8 years is pretty close to 100 CEUs. And you're prepared to go down a path of 100 CEUs?
Sure.
Okay. And what do you think's different now for you? I mean, why specifically Why, after 8 years, are you specifically interested in reinstating this license? And what's different?
I've always been interested in getting it reinstated, but I wanted to get well first. I'm not understanding really the question.
So it's been 8 years since you've practiced. I'll try to restate it one more time, and if not, we can certainly move on. But it's been 8 years since you've practiced. You've not followed up with CEUs, and yet you still have this desire to have a occupational therapy assistant license. And it's less about facts and more about specifically your thoughts, your feelings about why you want this license back.
Because I enjoy helping people is what it really comes down to.
And last question here, if I may. If you know that our role up here is primarily leading with the foot of consumer safety,
Sure.
tell us how the consumer is safe with you as their therapist. Knowing the history that you have,
Yes.
the informal rehabilitation around it.
Well, I've gone through my rehabilitation with my meditation and my exercise and stuff like that. I don't pose a threat in any physical way or to anyone, let alone a patient or anyone like that.
Thank you for answering my questions. I know it's not easy. Thank you.
No further questions.
No, I have a couple questions. So there was a question asked by the Deputy Attorney General on your triggers, and you identified it as depression and anxiety. And generally, I see that as a outcome of a trigger. I have some family history with mental health, so that's usually an outcome. Then your behavior based upon that trigger, whatever the original trigger is. Can you dig deeper in what you think triggered that? I don't want to get into real personal stuff, but that's really going to be the difference on if that were to occur again, what is going to be your plan to address it differently?
Right.
And so that is my concern. So if you can try to think about that.
It was more the anxiety that was the self-medicating with the alcohol, because I'd become so anxious that I would drink
Okay.
to bring down the anxiety. And then I sought help, I was prescribed the medication, and I abused it.
Okay.
But it was more the anxiety than the depression that is the trigger.
Okay. And have you done anything specifically to deal with the anxiety?
Through meditation and my running, my exercise.
Okay. It's kind of unique. A couple of your events happened in, the same month, a year apart. I didn't know if maybe there was some trigger within that month that you personally have a difficult time. I have a son that has difficulty around Christmas every year. And so we know that, and he's now knows that and tries to deal with that time of year differently. So I didn't know if maybe there were things like that in your life that, during certain periods of time of the year that are cyclical, that you now have some, you've prepared yourself or surrounded yourself with tools to address those should they arise. Is there anything like that you can think of?
Yeah, so I have a long history of, like you said, you don't want to get too much into it, but there are triggers of past and abuse and stuff like that. But I've dealt with that through the therapy that I did with the psychiatrist for almost 8 years, and I just have a more positive outlook on how I can deal with those things without drinking.
Sure.
You know?
And so I would assume, were there individuals that at that time you were surrounding yourself with that may not be in your life today, or are you still in that same?
No, for sure they're not in my life, and they haven't been.
Okay. All right. No further questions.
May I ask one more question that came to mind when doing this? So, Mr. Jones, when you meditate and run, are you doing this as a solitary activity or as
Yes.
involved in a group,
Solitary.
organized? Okay, thank you.
Do you have any?
No further
Yeah.
questions.
Thank you. Do you have any closing remarks?
I just apologize for being so nervous.
Any closing remarks?
I have nothing at this time.
All right. This concludes the board's hearing in this matter. The record is closed. The case is submitted. We can go off the record, and if you'll stop by the court reporter's desk to pick up a billing
Thank
detail
you.
report. Thank you.
she's got lots of extra documents. So I don't know if the board needs a time to review them.
Sure.
Documents that were provided from the ex-petitioner, so we'll take a moment to review those in case you have additional questions.
Give it back.
Ms. Donovan, do you want your binder?
Okay. Thank you.
We'll take a moment before the next petitioner.
Thank you very much. Okay, some of these things are already in the packet. So.
Susan Cox, if you'll come forward to the table. First, we're still reviewing the additional documents. We don't want to have duplicate copies of the documents, so if you can go through and the documents that you provided to Ms. Dougherty this morning, if you can just ensure that they're not already in the binder.
Yeah, I thought maybe I would just go over them so I could explain them as.
But make sure they're not, that we don't have duplicate documents.
Yeah, I don't know exactly what you,
They're there in that binder.
yeah, but I will. I did the best I could to pull them out, so if I didn't, I'm sorry. Oh, sorry.
Are we ready? Are we ready to proceed? Everybody had a chance? Okay.
All right, let's go on the record, please. It is November 14th, 2019, and we are here on the matter of the petition for reinstatement of license by Susan Cox. This matter is being heard before the Board of Occupational Therapy, OAH case number 2019-090-840, and agency case number 2020-000061. My name is Dina Coggins. I'm the administrative law judge assigned to hear this matter today. May I have the appearance of the Deputy Attorney General?
Caitlin Doherty, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Government Code Section 11522 and Business and Professions Code Section 2570.32, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the panel in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. I'm here to ensure that the panel has adequate information from which to make a decision. Thank you.
Thank you. The petitioner is present. You're representing yourself today, is that right?
Correct.
Right. In this proceeding, the board is concerned with hearing about any rehabilitation since your license was disciplined. The Deputy Attorney General will proceed first and provide a petition for reinstatement and supporting documents into evidence, and then provide an orientation in this matter. As we go through those documents, I'll ask if you have any objection to the omission of those documents into evidence. After that, you will have an opportunity to present your case. You can make a presentation, you can provide witnesses, and you've given us additional documents to consider. After the hearing, I'll draft a proposed decision for the board to review and adopt or modify. Do you have any questions at this time? All right. If you'll stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? Have a seat, please. Ms. Dougherty.
Thank you. What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 1 is the notice of hearing and proof of service. I'd ask that that be admitted for jurisdictional purposes at this time.
Do you have any objection to the admission of the document behind tab 1? Hearing no objection, Exhibit 1 is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 2 is the board's license summary for petitioner. I'd ask that this document be admitted for all purposes.
Any objection?
No.
Exhibit 2 is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 3 is the original petition packet with petitioner's original petition packet with accompanying documents. The board members and petitioner have been provided with a copy of this petition. This petition generally consists of the following: a petition for reinstatement of license dated August 16, 2019. Correspondence from petitioner. There's a statement from petitioner. A copy of page 5 of the final decision and order in the matter of the reinstatement in OAH case number 2017-08087. A letter from Nancy L. Farrell, MD, regarding discrepancy of hours petitioner provided hand therapy services. That letter is undated. Following that is a Superior Court of Sacramento order to terminate probation in case number 13T03352, ordered March 17, 2017. Following that is an order for dismissal under Penal Code Section 1203.4 for case number 13T03352, dated March 17, 2017. Following that is another order for dismissal under Penal Code Section 1203.4 for case number 12T06359, dated July 12, 2017. Following that is a letter from Donald Wiley, president of St. Joseph's Medical Center. That letter is dated January 29, 2008. There is a certificate of completion for a 28-day residential program at the Living Center, dated March 28, 2005. Following that is a certificate of completion for Lean Six Sigma White Belt Certified, dated October 5th, 2018. Following that is petitioner's Ashford University transcript, dated April 20th, 2012. Petitioner has provided numerous letters of reference that range in date range from 2019 to 1985. Following those letters are the Business and Professions Code rehabilitation criteria that has been included by petitioner. Then there is a copy of petitioner's business cards. There is also a certificate of completion for initial RCFE certification course, dated July 29, 2012. I'd ask that Exhibit 3 be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection?
No.
Exhibit 3 is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 4 is board supporting documents and correspondence. There is a letter from the board to petitioner dated January 12, 2018. Attached to that letter is a decision and order for petition for reinstatement in OAH case number 2017-08087, effective February 11, 2018, denying petitioner's petition for reinstatement. Following that is a board letter refusing to consider petitioner's petition for reinstatement dated June 29, 2015. Following that is another board letter refusing to consider petitioner's petition for reinstatement dated October 8, 2014. Following that is a certified copy of the record of conviction in Sacramento County Superior Court case number 13T03352. Following that is another certified copy of record of conviction in Sacramento County Superior Court case number 12T06359. Following that is another certified copy of record of conviction in Sacramento County Superior Court for case number 11T05780. Following that is a certified copy of Folsom Police Department crime report for number FPD 13-874. Additionally, there's another Folsom Police Department crime report number FPD 12-4235. Lastly, an additional Folsom Police Department crime report for report number FPD 11-3006. Then there is a board decision and order denying a petition for reconsideration in case number OT 2008-13. Then there's an order granting stay of effective date of decision in the matter of the accusation against Susan Lynn Cox, case number OT 2005-221. Then there's a board decision and order in the matter of the accusation against Susan Lynn Cox, case number 2005-221. Attached to that is the original accusation in that matter. Now I'll provide a brief background of Petitioner's license history. The board issued Petitioner's
One moment. Are you asking that?
I
4 be-
asked that Exhibit 4 be admitted into evidence.
Any objection?
No.
All right. Exhibit 4 is admitted. You can proceed.
Sorry about that. The board issued Petitioner's occupational therapist license number OT 7326 on December 9, 2003. On or about May 20th, 2010, Petitioner's license was revoked. The original basis for discipline in this matter was Petitioner had practiced occupational therapy without a license. Additionally, Petitioner had submitted fraudulent and false documentation to the board in connection with these applications for advanced practice approval. As a result of the final decision and order in board case number 2005-221, Petitioner's license was revoked and she was ordered to pay cost of $17,949.50. Since Petitioner's license was revoked in 2010, she has suffered the following convictions. The first conviction is for case number 11T05780 that occurred on May 22nd, 2012 in Superior Court of Sacramento County. Petitioner was convicted on her plea of nolo contendere for wet and reckless driving, a violation of Vehicle Code Section 23103.5, a misdemeanor. Again, in case number 12T06359 on April 29th, 2013 in Superior Court, County of Sacramento, Petitioner was convicted on her plea of nolo contendere for driving under the influence, a violation of Vehicle Code Section 23152, Subdivision B, a misdemeanor. Again, on February 6, 2014, in case number 13T03352 in the Superior Court of Sacramento, Petitioner was convicted of her plea of nolo contendere for driving under the influence, a violation of Vehicle Code Section 23152, Subdivision A, a misdemeanor. Her April 29, 2013, and her May 22nd, 2012 convictions at that time were considered two prior driving under the influence. At that time, Petitioner was also convicted for driving on a suspended license, a violation of Vehicle Code Section 14601.2. On August 11, 2014, Petitioner filed a petition for reinstatement of her license. On October 8, 2014, the board refused to consider her petition pursuant to Business and Professions Code Section 2570.32, Subdivision F, which provides the board may refuse to consider a petition while the petitioner is in court-imposed probation. Petitioner was still on her court-imposed probation from her DUIs at that time. Again, on June 3, 2015, Petitioner filed a petition for reinstatement of her license. On October 8, 2014, the board refused to consider her petition pursuant to Business and Professions Code Section 2570.32, Subdivision F, as Petitioner was still on her court-ordered probation. On March 17, 2017, Petitioner's court-imposed probation was terminated early. On April 13, 2017, Petitioner filed with the board a petition for reinstatement of her license. Petitioner's petition for reinstatement was denied on February 11, 2018. In the decision denying petitioner's petition for reinstatement of her occupational therapist license, the board had determined that petitioner failed to acknowledge the seriousness of her conduct that gave rise to the revocation of her license. Further, the board found that petitioner failed to produce evidence that she understands her ethical obligations to maintain truthful and accurate records, or that she is capable of taking corrective action to prevent reoccurrence of that misconduct. On March 17, 2017, petitioner had her criminal conviction expunged in case number 13T03352. This conviction was expunged under 1203.4. On July 12, 2017, petitioner had her criminal conviction expunged in case number 12T06359. This conviction was also expunged under Penal Code Section 1203.4. Today, petitioner is asking that her occupational therapist license be reinstated. It is petitioner's burden to demonstrate that she is rehabilitated and safe to practice, and that her license should be reinstated. Therefore, we have nothing further at this time, but reserve the right to cross-examine her should she fail to testify.
Thank you. Now is your opportunity to present your case, Ms. Cox. As we were going through the documents being introduced by Ms. Doherty, I noticed that there were several duplicates as we were going
Yeah, I
through.
tried to pull out the ones that I could, but
All right, so I will go through and mark your documents for identification purposes. I know
Yeah.
that the first two documents, the first one, rehabilitation criteria, is already in the binder. Also, page 5 of this decision is already in the binder as well. Is that your understanding?
yeah, I have this.
Right. We next have a letter dated July 5th, 2017 from Lori Peters. Is that in the binder already?
Yes, it is.
All right, so I'm
It
not-
is, but I recopied it just to let you know she is a psychiatrist, and I had been seeing her, and she doesn't put psychiatrist on her forms.
All right, I'm just checking to see if this is a
Yeah,
duplicate.
I just wanted to bring that up,
All right,
because nobody would know.
I'm going to let you go through and talk about all of your documents. Right now, I'm just removing all of the documents that have been already provided in the binder, so we're removing that. Next, the Ashford University transcript. Is that in the binder already?
That is.
All right. The next document is not dated by Todd Wallace. Is that in the binder? Are you aware?
Don't recall seeing that one.
I don't remember you
Yeah, you
mentioning.
can call him. He wrote it about a couple weeks ago.
When did he write this document?
A couple weeks ago.
I'm going to mark it as Exhibit A for identification purposes. Right. The next document by Sue Baker dated August 30th, 2019. I'm marking that as Exhibit B.
Your Honor, I think I have another letter in front of that one. I don't know if it's different.
It's different order. Do you have a November 11th, 2019
Correct.
document? Okay, I'll mark that next in
Okay.
line. Exhibit C, it's a letter dated November 11th, 2019. And that letter is written by Stratman, Grace Stratman, last name spelled Stratman. I'm marking that as Exhibit C for identification purposes. I've heard from Ms. Doherty, I believe the next document, which is a certificate of completion, is that already in the binder? It's the Lean Six Sigma White Belt Certified.
That is in the binder.
Copy a lot more than needed.
Next is an email correspondence from Sandy Long. Long is the last name. The date on the email is November 29th, 2018.
That is also in the binder.
All right, then I'm not marking that. Next is a letter, it's not dated, from Layla Jolson. I don't recall a mention of that. When did Miss Jolson write this letter?
Oh,
No?
she wrote this when I was working with her in 2008 or 2009.
Is that when you received the letter? In
That's when
2008?
she wrote it, yeah.
That letter is in the binder.
We have it in our
All right.
binders.
Yeah, she wrote that when I was working with her.
All right, then I won't mark that. It looks like the next item is already in the binder. It's a December 19th, 2001. Looks to be a letter written by the petitioner.
I'm sorry, my documents that were given to me are in a different order.
All right, so it's a December 19th, 2001 document.
Your Honor, I'd also note that some of the duplicative ones have personal information that were redacted from our packet, so just be cautious as we add stuff.
I see. All right.
This I do not believe was in there, but I would also like. This is a
Is this a
this is
patient
a patient
record?
record, so I don't want this has to be sealed if.
I blacked everything out, so.
Well, it has a name on top of the
Oh,
document.
I
I'm
meant to
assuming
black
that's
it out. Do you want me to black it out? Then we should just toss it. It doesn't have a date of birth or anything, but I meant to black everything out.
all right. So it sounds like we'll remove the record there.
It has the doctor's name.
Well,
Oh, no, it does. I missed one spot.
are you seeking to withdraw this document?
Yeah, let's do so
All
we
right.
don't cross any.
So
All right.
take it out.
Please take it out.
It's just an example of my work, so.
Nice. Next
It's
is
not
it looks like there are 2 orders for dismissal. Those are already in the binder, so I won't mark those. Next is a Career Academy Learning Gate Microsoft Specialist. Looks like an order detail receipt.
That's not in the binder.
All right, and I'll mark that as Exhibit D for identification purposes. Again, it says Career Academy Learning Gate. And I believe the next document, which looks like business cards, are already in the
Correct.
binder. Won't mark those. And lastly, Exhibit E, I believe that's already, I'm not going to mark it, it's already in the binder. All right, so I have documents A through D. The other documents will return to you, Ms. Cox, after the hearing is over. Do you have any witnesses that you're going to be calling on your behalf?
No, I had witnesses last time. My sponsor came and I think it doesn't look like that is an issue anymore based on what you guys wrote.
All right, then this is your opportunity to present any information you'd like the board to consider.
First and foremost, I would like to give a huge apology for not taking things as seriously as I should have taken them and done things the way that I did it. And it was wrong. I can make no excuses other than, to be honest with you, I'd done it since '85. I was arrogant and just filled it out very flippantly, and it was wrong. I mean, all I can say is I've learned $1 million lesson. It would never happen again. I took the Microsoft Excel and Word so that I would be able to be really up to date on keeping records and keeping track of things. If you will look, my graduate degree, you had initially offered me informal probation. And frankly, I was scared and didn't do it. I mean, that's just the truth. I was just scared and ignored it. I wish I had done so, obviously, right now. But you can see I took they recommended I take a healthcare and ethics course. And I took a master's degree healthcare and ethics course. I took a continuing quality improvement risk management course. I took principles of healthcare administration, policy formation and leadership in health organizations, healthcare management information systems, which is more to do with keeping up on date with that. along with a lot of other courses that I took. I took it very seriously. Somehow I pulled off a 4.0. Surprised even myself. I have worked diligently with Dr. Peters, who doesn't say on here that she is a psychiatrist. I've also worked with Charles Straley doing, and it's in my packet, who's a psychiatrist doing the book, A New Mood Therapy, which has actually been extremely helpful. I can show employment now. If you see the employment from Stratman, I have an employment record there. And I have an employment record from Sue Baker that I've worked for her mom. And I have basically stayed in this line of work without working. As you probably all have seen my parents. My dad passed last year, so I took care of him. But it's been managing my mom and at the assisted living, reminding people, oh, you have Parkinson's. Let me tell you what spoons will. It's just kind of who I am. It's so I have stayed after 30 years of doing it, very close to it. I think Pastor Todd helped me understand your viewpoint. I was seeing my own, and I wasn't seeing your viewpoint. You don't know me from Adam. I mean, you really don't. And so, it was wrong of me to do that and to fill something out like that so flippantly and without being cautious and diligent about it. I mean, it was wrong. There was a letter here from the church also that says, I work at the food closet. I volunteer at the food pantry. And I have one here stating that I have talked to my sponsor at length about this, as well as Dr. Strahili and Dr. Peters about, where I was wrong. And the fact of the matter is, sobriety comes through honesty, open-mindedness, and willingness. And if you aren't honest and you can't be honest, you won't stay sober, is pretty much the way it goes. And I put copies of all the places I worked because I was everywhere. I was way over. I had 3 kids, single mom, one wanting to go to law school, one going to nurse practitioner school. And I had to work a lot of hours to accomplish that. And as a result, I didn't do things right. I mean, that's just a fact, and I can apologize. And I don't know how I can show you subjectively that I apologize without having an opportunity to show you that. I'd like to be able to take the opportunity to at least show you. I did work about 7 years after the supposed incident with no occurrences. And in 30 years of working, I've never, ever had a single complaint about my work. I made a big mistake, and I'm really sorry.
Thank you. Any questions?
I do have a few. Thank you. Ms. Cox, have you had any other convictions besides the 3 I mentioned
No.
today?
No.
I noticed that you had 2 of those convictions expunged. Did you have the 3rd one expunged?
I didn't, the attorney just called me recently and can get it expunged. It's not a problem. I just had forgotten about it, and the 10 years is almost up for the driver's license thing, so if it's an issue, he can get it expunged, no big deal.
And do you believe you have a problem with alcohol?
I would say I'm horribly allergic to alcohol, absolutely. It's the biggest liar in my life. And when this all came down and I lost my license, I lost my identity. I'd been a therapist 30 years, owned private practices, and I just fell off the deep end. I had no coping skills in which to manage it, and that's what I've done with the new mood therapy and the other things, is learning how to cope with things without using something that's actually far more harmful than it is helpful. It's the biggest liar in the world. I know that for sure.
And what's your sobriety date?
March of 13.
And what is significant of your sobriety date? What does it mean to you?
Everything. It's the day I got my life back. And I have to say, this may sound corny, but as bad as it's been, there has been so much good that has come out of it, of the friendships I've developed, the people that I've been able to work with. And it's important for me to have friends that are in sobriety and that we can all do things together, because it's different. I mean, not that I can't go to public things, I can, but it's just really important to me, and it has been.
And do you currently still attend AA?
Yes, when the letter from Sue Baker tells you,
And-
I take her mom too.
And how often do you attend AA?
Oh, 4 days a week.
And what do you currently do?
I am currently working at Shred Dog.
And what is that?
We shred sensitive documents from physician's office, lawyers' offices, people that want and then give a certificate of shred. So you have to keep pretty close notes and get the certificate of destruction, and it's kind of a sensitive position.
And are you also working to care for Sue Baker's mom?
Yes.
And what are your responsibilities to care for her?
I help her with dressing. I help her. She has some mental things going on. I help her down to the dining room, remind her to go, do things with her, try to keep her upbeat and get her to doctor's appointments, help her dress if she needs to. She's had some medication problems, so I got her on so they're handling her medications now, because I wanted to make sure that got done right. And I got her on her long-term care insurance, which will now cover her for the rest of her life. So that was...
And regards to her medications, are you helping provide her medications at all?
No longer, no.
No longer. What does that mean?
It means the facility does it.
And at any point in time, were you helping provide her medications?
No, I just made sure she got them from them.
So you never touched the medications?
No.
And Ms. Baker mentions in her letter that you're providing advice on her medications. What is that advice?
To take them when she doesn't want to. Some of her psych meds she doesn't want to take. So I tell her it's really important that she take it.
And that's the extent of that advice?
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm not. My husband's a pharmacist. I'm not.
Are you helping care for any other individuals besides this individual?
I am the sole provider. Both of my siblings have passed, and my mom is still alive. So I am her sole caretaker.
You stated earlier that you have been seeing a psychiatrist. Is that correct?
Yeah, and it's in the thing, Dr. Strahili,
And what are you seeing Dr. Strahili for?
it's called a new mood therapy, and it's about anxiety and depression and how to handle it. And he does addiction. It's a really good book. It's by David Burns. I'd highly recommend it.
And how many sessions have you attended with Dr. Strahili?
About 6. I'm guessing here, so I don't want to be.
And when did you start? When did you start being treated by Dr. Strahili?
Just about 5 months ago, because I decided Dr. Peters had it was time to move on.
And Dr. Peters, is that a psychiatrist as well?
Yes.
And how long were you under the care of Dr. Peters?
Oh, 4 years.
And have you been diagnosed with anything?
Alcoholism.
And do you find your therapy with Dr. Strahili useful?
Very. He's been extremely useful.
And do you plan on utilizing this therapy in the future?
Yes, absolutely.
And can you tell me some things that you've learned from that therapy to help you maintain your sobriety?
He's really worked on how to de-escalate situations and take power out of things, and then repeat to somebody what I'm hearing you saying is this, and getting clarification on things so that you're getting clear information, and then parroting it back to them, and then acknowledging, I hear what you're saying. And so you're having that empathetic dialogue with somebody, and that's really helpful.
And do you have a relapse prevention plan in place?
I sure do.
And what is that plan?
Wake up every morning and remind myself I'm an alcoholic, number one. Read the daily reflections every morning. I talk to my sponsor every day, and I talk to my sponsees. I got some texts this morning from a few of them. I'm very involved because I go to the Alano Club on Gibbons, which is kind of a AA, but it's a social club as well, dances and parties. And
Looking at your underlying, the reasons the board filed an accusation against your license, what steps have you taken to address your dishonesty issues?
I've taken classes to learn how to do it correctly, and I've acknowledged that what I did was wrong. I mean, all I can do is acknowledge it, and say it will not happen again. And I can completely see your viewpoint. And I think it was Pastor Todd that really helped me see, Susan, you need to see where they're coming from. You know, put yourself in their shoes. And I did that, and it was hard to take, but I needed to hear it.
And just so to help the board understand and help myself, why did you lie originally on your application to the board?
Truth, I was being flippant. I mean, that's just, I wasn't being respectful.
And
I should not have done it. It was wrong. I would never do such a thing again. I'm even, like, when you apply for a job, making call to everybody to make sure when I work there. I mean, I'm being extremely diligent now after learning this lesson. It was a huge lesson to learn, a very big lesson. And I will not do it again. And I will be accountable for that. You know, I have no trouble being accountable. But I do think taking the courses in the Excel so that I can keep better documents, getting the master's degree with healthcare law and ethics, the classes in healthcare notes taking, you know, the new online things, has been very helpful in teaching me that and how to do it. I did as much as I could to promote that that wouldn't happen again.
And is that the same reason you took it a step farther and falsified certificates when you submitted your application to the board?
What certificates? Oh, I probably have it in here then. I don't see it. What I can tell you without even looking at it is that I didn't take it as seriously as I should have taken it. I mean, I'm being very, very honest. I was not respectful to you guys or to take it seriously as I should have. And I knew I had the hours, so I just kind of flippantly did it. And it's not right. I'm not trying to make excuses for my behavior. I'm just saying what I did. I'm like, I've done this since 1985. Come on. And you guys don't know those things. I mean, and I was wrong. I mean, I should have been very meticulous and done it. And in one of the cases, which you don't know, and it doesn't really matter at this point, I had to sue one of the people that I was working with that testified against me because he didn't pay me, and I won the lawsuit. But I didn't want to bring that up in this situation. It was one of them that because what I did is I went into therapy offices and I said, I'll tell you what, I'll give you 30% of everything I collect, but I get to use your secretary, the whole place. Well, it turned out really in my favor because then the prescription pads started coming more into my name and it started creating some problems because I was taking business from.
All right, the last question asked was about the certificates. Are we moving on
Correct.
from
We can
there?
move on.
All right.
Yeah. I wouldn't do it again.
If you were placed in a similar situation today where you have a lot of things going on and you have an application or a renewal application due to the board and you don't have enough time or something comes up, what would you do when submitting that application?
I wouldn't do it. I shouldn't have done it then. I should not have done it then. There was a time crunch to get it in. I had a certain period of time. I should not have done it. I mean, I was wrong to be doing it. I was in no condition to be doing it.
What classes or steps have you taken to keep abreast of the changes of the field since your license was revoked in 2010?
Well, I got the Master's in Healthcare Administration. I got the Assisted Living Administrator's thing. I talked to Chris, here, your enforcement guy, and he told me because I called in, asked him, should I take Con Eds now? Because I like going to school. And he said, no, we will tell you what we want you to take if we give you your license back. Hold off. Otherwise, I would have been more than happy to do so because I like to learn.
So besides that, you haven't taken any continuing education classes, that's correct?
No, I was told not to. Very clearly, because I called him.
This board has previously given you a chance with a license, and you failed to live up to your end and hold your license, or give your license the value that it deserves. In result, it was revoked. Why should the board believe you that this time it would be different?
I realize that I made a mistake. I mean, what I did was wrong. I mean, I don't think there's any question about my abilities as a therapist. The question is, can I stay honest? And if I want to stay sober, you have to stay really, really honest and take one step at a time. I tried to do too many things at once, and I just got myself in a big hole that I should not have gotten myself in. And I just wouldn't do it again. And I would like an opportunity after 13 years to show that. I mean, it's been a 13-year period.
What assurances can you give to the board that you are safe to practice and that reinstating your license would not pose a risk to the public?
I never have posed a risk to the public. I mean, I don't have a history of, doing something at work that was harmful to a patient or that could have been of harm to anybody. And nor would I. That's the last thing I would do.
What are your long-term goals of employment if the board was to reinstate your license?
At this point, I would probably go into long-term care because I've spent so many years now taking care of my parents and Maureen and some other people that I think, and I do well with it because I think it's important to bring happiness into those places. That has a lot to do with people getting well.
And when your license was revoked, cost recovery was ordered in the amount of $17,949.50. Are you able to pay that if your license is reinstated?
I would have to make it in payments, but yes, I could.
If your license was reinstated on a probationary status, would you be able to comply with all the board's terms and regulations and the costs associated to that probation?
Oh, absolutely. I would want direction so that I make sure I'm doing it right. I'm not the least bit opposed to some sort of direction because what I see here is that I wasn't sorry enough. I don't objectively know how to fix that other than to show you.
And when is the last time you treated a patient with an active license?
2010, I was doing home health.
So is it correct to say you haven't practiced in 9 years?
Right. I've not billed, but I haven't practiced as a therapist, but I've certainly used my knowledge and skills to be of assistance to people. But have I billed or practiced, said I'm an OT? No. In fact, I've told the people that my license was revoked, so.
And to follow up on that, have you, though you may have not billed or held yourself out as an OT, have you utilized skills that only an OT may be licensed to administer?
No.
I have nothing further for this petitioner.
Any questions from board members?
Hi. So I have a few questions, if I may, you've appeared before us before, and so we have a familiarity. You know the way in which I ask questions. So again, respectfully, I want to start out with that, but I want to get down to some real details. I also want to clarify again, at least the position of the board or my position on this board with you. The issue of sobriety has never been the issue which got us here today. You have done what you've needed to do there. You have rehabilitated. You have shown that. So for the purposes of my questions to you, if you could take that out of your thinking and specifically know that my questions go to the honesty, the documentation, and the fraudulent Act around that. So please know if you could. Is your RCFE certification current?
No, I let it lapse. It wasn't for me.
And when did you let it lapse?
I would be guessing here, so I don't want to. I'm really working on accuracy.
That's a
Sorry,
good,
but it's a big issue for me now. I'm guessing 3 years.
okay, 3 years.
It was a 2-year deal. We went 40 hours and took a state test, and
And so, are you aware that last year our Practice Act went before legislation? We have a new Practice Act. Have you read it?
no, I have not. But I sure will.
In the August 30th email, specifically, I want to go back to that related to the medication advice, the word using advice. I asked the question to you about the Practice Act because I want to be clear about your understanding of our scope, what we can and what we cannot do. Is it clear to you that we cannot provide advice on medication?
I think Sue wrote that. I didn't write it. Sue did. What I did is encourage her to take it. I didn't give her advice, but I didn't write the letter. So, no, I don't give people advice. It's not in my scope of practice in any way, shape, or form.
And knowing that, going on that, knowing that you did not intend that, as you've stated, and following you on that path, we still have a patient that or a consumer that has that perception. So the next question would be, this is really just a point of cause for you to think about. The next piece would be to really be clear about what our consumers think we can and can't do, because that goes to their safety as well.
Yeah, I suspect she just wasn't thinking when. I did go to the doctor with her.
It's just a point.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
can
no.
take it or leave it. I'm going back to my questions, but
I hear
that's
what you're saying.
that's just a collegial point to you.
I hear what you're saying, and no, I've never given.
So the next thing that I want to understand is specifically, and I have a few more questions. Are we okay, or do you want me to? Are you okay if I continue on mine? And so I want to understand specifically with the XL, the healthcare, the practice. What specifically have you done with any CEUs related to occupational therapy?
Well, I think a number of. Chris told me not to take any. He told.
Did you ask that? And you want?
One moment.
I know it's uncommon for us to object in these here proceedings, but at this point, I'm gonna have to stop. She's talking about someone from a staff member from the board that's not here, and something he may or may
Well,
not
I
have
was-
said, and it's
I-
hearsay.
One moment.
And it's hearsay, and I don't think that should continue at this point in time.
All right. I'm gonna.
Would you like me to
No,
withdraw my question,
No,
Judge?
no, your question didn't call for hearsay. I'm
I-
going to
I
sit
was
one
just
one
told.
moment, Ms. Cox. I'm going to sustain that objection. I'd ask that you listen to the question being posed specifically, and if you'll ask the question one more time, please.
So, aside from the work that you've done with XL and healthcare, what specifically have you done in the field of occupational therapy for CEUs?
I was told to do none, but I got a master's, and reading the Practice Act, it looked like a number of these courses would go toward that. I guess you look at it and determine which ones.
Okay.
Maybe the biostatistics, and I don't know. You guys would have to look at it, and I doubt if the Lean Sigma one would, but that's a healthcare one as well.
So, Ms. Cox, in the effort to be supportive in your process of trying to follow all your statements, attention to detail, and all of the things that you've identified, documentation, and wanting to really hear that for what it is. And again, one more thing, you recognize that I have no opportunity to ask you these questions, but in an audience, right? So they're not intended to be anything more than they are, but to help make a good decision for our public. Even the documents you brought today for us, there were duplicates, there were missing dates, there were things. So tell me how your attention to detail is different.
Well, they weren't they're not ones I provided. I mean, they were ones that people sent to me. And I didn't want to put a date on something. They have their phone numbers here that said if you want to call them, but I didn't feel like it was my place to be adding dates to things that I hadn't specifically written, because then again, I'm falsifying a piece of paper.
And to not continue down, I don't want to go hard on this. I'll make it very simple in one document. You had, in our packet, we had a copy of your transcript from going to Ashford University, and in what you provided today was a copy of that same transcript. Did you not know they were duplicates in terms of that attention to
I
detail?
just wanted to go over the specific classes that I thought were pertinent, is why I duplicated it, so that I could go over it, you know, like I took this, because before I just gave you the whole.
So,
This time I wanted to point out, you know, these are the specific classes I took to improve myself.
and so I'll close on that line of really asking you what I'm really trying to get at. You know, I always do a contextual thing with you so you understand where the question goes. In an effort to help you, were your license to be reinstated and were our public to therefore be safe, an element of that is accuracy in documentation, deliberate accuracy, focus, understand. And so, yet, even in something here today, would you be open to additional education that was very specific to organizational skills that were?
Sure. Why would I not want to learn?
And, okay.
My whole job is to become a better person, not.
All right. Well, thank you for going down that line of questioning, and I do want to, just because you've come before us before and your father's come a few times, I do want to acknowledge condolences to you
Thank
and
you
your
very
family.
much, and I probably look healthier. Last year, I was 3 days out of major surgery.
Next question from board member.
Actually, majority of my questions got answered, but are you currently on any medications to cope with any of the anxiety you used to have?
No, I'm not. I do have a prescription for Norco, simply because I've had cancer and 3 or 4 years of major surgery. And when I was here last time, my clavicle had been smashed and wired together. But I don't take it very often. But I have it. It's just not something I take.
I have a question, Ms. Cox. With the, you mentioned that you never harmed the public. That's a statement that you made a short while ago. Is that correct? You never did anything.
One moment, you cannot talk over him. You have to let him finish his
When
question.
when you practiced without a license between January 1st and December 9th, 2003, most of 2003, did you bill for those services?
I didn't work that whole year. When I went to work at the hospital, the director looked it up and said, "Oh my God, Susan, I never got the letter in the mail that said it was supposed to be done." And I said, "Oh my God, I left that day and I drove right up here and fixed it."
So between January 1st and December 9th, 2003, that's 11 months. And did you work
probably-
during that time, and did you bill
I
for...
worked
Do not let him finish his question, please. Finish the-
Did you work during at any point during that time as an occupational therapist and bill for occupational therapy services?
for probably a week until he realized that I was supposed to have it, and I had not gotten it in the mail, so I was unaware.
So is the answer yes?
Yes.
Did you pay back those clients or the insurance company or the facility for the billed services during that period?
I don't know if the facility did or not, but they were well aware of it.
So you
It
did
was
you,
a short period.
so no, you did not. Are you saying that no, you did not pay back?
I didn't know.
Okay.
I was never.
Are you aware that that harm to the consumer can be seen as billing for services and providing services without a license, and charging for services that were
Yeah, I can see
not
your point. I
provided,
can
and
see
things like
You're
that.
talking over him again, okay? Just let a couple of seconds pass so that he can ask the question.
So are you aware that we see that as actual harm to the consumer?
Yes, I can see that.
Thank you. No further questions.
Do you have any closing remarks?
No, just it won't happen again. I can tell you that for sure. I've worked diligently in every way that I can.
Any closing remarks?
No closing remarks, but I do want to make sure, I know they were marked for identification, petitioner's documents were admitted.
Yes. Would you like documents A through D admitted into evidence?
Please.
Any objection?
No.
All right. A through E have been admitted. No closing remarks from Ms.
Is
Doherty.
there any other questions that
one
I
moment.
could answer?
All questions have been asked by this board. This case is concluded. The petition hearing is completed. The record is closed. The case is submitted. We can go off the record. If you will pick up a court reporter detail report from the court reporter desk. Yes, we can take a break. If we just want to return the copies of the documents that were provided.
The exhibits as well? Yes.
The ones that weren't admitted.
Oh, the ones that weren't admitted, so these were admitted.
Okay.
There was one withdrawn, and then there was some that were.
All right. Why don't we take a 15-minute break? Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay.
Oh. Ready to proceed?
Ready.
All right. All right, let's go on the record if we can. All right, it's November 14th, 2019. We are here in the matter of the petition for early termination of probation or petition for modification of probation. This matter is being heard before the Board of Occupational Therapy. Petitioner Anjali Dillon Kelly, OAH case number 2019090086, agency number 100-204-4288. My name is Dina Coggins. I'm the administrative law judge assigned to hear this matter. May I have the appearance of the Attorney General's office?
Caitlin Doherty, Deputy Attorney General. I'm appearing on behalf of the Attorney General pursuant to Government Code Section 11522 and Business and Professions Code Section 2570.32, representing the people of the state of California. I'm here to assist the panel in fact-finding. My role is not adversarial, but is intended to protect the public interest. I'm here to ensure that the panel has adequate information from which to make a decision. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kelly is present. You're representing yourself today?
Yes.
All right. In this proceeding, the board is concerned with any rehabilitation you've had since your license was disciplined. The Deputy Attorney General will proceed first to submit the packet and supporting documents into evidence and provide an orientation in this matter. You will be placed under oath. You'll be given opportunity to present your case. You can call witnesses or provide any additional documents you have that are not contained in the binder. After the hearing is over, I will draft a proposed decision for the board's review, and that will happen within 30 days, and then the board will determine whether or not to adopt that decision. Today, questions may be asked by board members or Ms. Doherty. Any questions before we proceed?
No.
All right. If you'll stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear or affirm under penalty of perjury that the testimony you're about to give will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
Have a seat, please. Ms. Doherty?
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 1 is the notice of hearing and proof of service in the matter today. I'd ask that that be admitted for jurisdictional purposes at this time.
Ms. Doherty is going to go through all of the documents that are contained in the binder in front of you. After she goes through and identifies a document, I will mark it in evidence and then ask you if you have any objection to the admission of the document into evidence, which means the board members can consider that document. Any objection to the admission of Exhibit 1?
No.
Hearing no objection, that exhibit is admitted.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 2 is the board's license summary for Petitioner, which I'd like to point out to the board that also includes a summary of Petitioner's current probation status. I'd ask that that document be admitted for all purposes at this time.
Any objection to the admission of Exhibit 2?
No.
All right. It's admitted.
Exhibit 3, what's been marked as Exhibit 3 consists of a petition for early termination of probation with attachments dated July 10th, 2019. I would also like to point out that there is a petition for modification of probation also submitted by respondent dated July 10th, 2019. The respondent today is asking that her probation be terminated. If her probation is not terminated, she's asking that her probation terms be modified. Those documents generally consist of letters of recommendation dated 2010 to 2013, a progress report from Sierra Counseling Center dated April 24th, 2013, AA sign-in sheets, State Board of Nevada Board of Occupational Therapy letter regarding continuing education audit dated October 12th, 2011, an American Occupational Therapy Association letter dated May 13th, 2011. The letter states that respondent's license is reprimanded. The Department of Regulatory Agencies letter dated August 12th, 2011 regarding Colorado Office of Occupational Therapy reviewing the California disciplinary action and determination that it does not warrant formal disciplinary proceedings in Colorado. Following that is a Nevada response to supervision request letter dated October 6, 2011. A Nevada completion of probation dated May 10, 2013. The Maryland Board of Occupational Therapy letter lifting probation dated May 6, 2013. A Medi-Cal response letter to request for reinstatement in Medi-Cal program dated March 13, 2013. From that letter it appears Petitioner's Medi-Cal is still suspended. Following that is a Physical Agent Modalities Practitioner Credentialing Agency, LLC, affidavit and release dated July 3rd, 2015. Following that is another Physical Agent Modalities Practitioner Credentialing Agency, LLC, documentation of clinical applications, superficial, and EEP thermal modalities certification with attached documents dated July 3rd, 2015. A copy of Petitioner's Maryland Occupational Therapy license, a copy of a consent agreement between the Maryland State Board of Occupational Therapy and Petitioner, an email chain dated January 17, 2013 regarding Petitioner's employment due to Medi-Cal exclusion, a copy of Petitioner's State of Iowa Occupational Therapist license. At this time, I'd ask that Exhibit 3 in its entirety be admitted for all purposes.
Any objection?
Yeah, I just thought that I can't find it, the paper from Medi-Cal was a reinstatement.
Was
so
a reinstatement.
I am in good terms and I can treat
Okay.
Medi-Cal patients.
And I may have misspoke.
Okay, yes, then. Yeah, I don't know where it is.
And I'd like to point out that Petitioner is correct, that she has been released from that Medi-Cal exclusion list.
All right. Any other objection?
No.
All right. That packet is admitted, Exhibit 3.
What's been pre-marked as Exhibit 4 is the board's supporting documents and correspondence with Petitioner. First is the board's decision and order for petition of early termination of probation against Angeli Dillon Kelly, case number PT 2012-500, order dated July 25th, 2018. Following that is a board decision and order for a petition for reinstatement of license for Angeli Dillon Kelly, case number PT 2012-500. Following that is a board decision and order in the matter of the petition to revoke probation against Angeli Dillon Kelly, case number AL 2009-84. Following that is a petition to revoke probation against Angeli Dillon Kelly, case number AL 2009-84. Preceding that is the board decision and order in the matter of the statement of issues against Angeli Dillon Kelly, case number AL 2009-84. Attached to that is a statement of issues issued against Angeli Dillon Kelly in that original case. I'd ask that Exhibit 4 be admitted in its entirety for all purposes at this time.
Any objection?
No, Your Honor.
Exhibit 4 is admitted.
I'd now like to provide a brief background of Petitioner's license history. The board issued Petitioner's occupational therapist license number OT 11186 on March 22nd, 2010, where she was placed on a probation for 3 years. The underlying acts in the statement of issues are as follows. On or about 2004 and 2007, Petitioner was convicted of driving under the influence of alcohol. On November 10th, 2010, Petitioner voluntarily surrendered her license based on a probation violation in that Petitioner tested positive and admitted that she had consumed alcohol in April of 2010. On May 29, 2013, Petitioner petitioned for reinstatement of her license, which was granted on January 16, 2014, at which time Petitioner was placed on 3 years probation. Petitioner has resided in the state of Nevada since being placed on probation. Petitioner's probation has remained tolled since being reinstated. Petitioner has been in compliance with submitting quarterly reports. Her probation has been tolled since being put on probation in January 16, 2014. Petitioner completed the continuing education requirements. Support and recovery group term has been told, although Petitioner has submitted proof that she has complied with the Nevada terms for support and recovery. And as well as biological fluid testing has also been told since Petitioner resides in Nevada. Petitioner is petitioning today for her probation to be terminated early, and in result for the board, if the board does not find it is appropriate to terminate her probation, Petitioner is asking that her probation terms be modified to add a term allowing her to surrender her license. That term does not currently exist on her probation order. It is the petitioner's burden to demonstrate that she is rehabilitated and safe to practice and no longer needs to be monitored by the board. Therefore, we have nothing further at this time but reserve the right to cross-examine petitioner should she fail to testify.
Thank you. Ms.
Thank
Kelly,
you.
Ms. Kelly, this is your opportunity to present your case. Do you have witnesses that are going to testify? Right. And do you have any other documents besides the ones contained in the binder?
No.
This is your opportunity to present your case to the board.
Okay. Yeah, thank you for your time hearing my case today. I am just here again to, see if I can't find a way to either be get my probation revoked so that I don't have to maintain the California license, or so that my probation could be modified so that I can let my license lapse. Either way, I'm very set up in Reno, Nevada right now. I bought a house and I have a 2-year-old, and I'm very established in the therapy community and the AA community. I'm happy there. So you know, I'm just hoping to sort of tie this loose end up. And as far as my rehabilitation goes, I've been very active in AA since I got sober in 2010, and I continue to be very active. I participate in Bridging the Gap, which is what we do is we connect sober people of AA with people getting out of treatment or coming out of jails to take them to their first meeting, hopefully before they go out and relapse in between that kind of critical time of being in an institution and being out in public. I also am responsible for starting a meeting for other parents who don't have childcare, and so what we do is we switch houses and take turns essentially babysitting the kids so that more parents in AA are able to get to a meeting. I go to about 3 meetings a week. I talk to my sponsor regularly, and I sponsor young women, and that's very fulfilling and meaningful for me. You know, I've sort of built my life around AA. Most of my friends are either a therapist or in recovery, and yeah, so I have a very good support system with that. I also have a pretty healthy lifestyle. I do yoga 3 times a week. I rock climb, and I attend the Center for Spiritual Living, which is sort of a non-denominational church. And yeah, you know, other than that, just try to get a little time in Tahoe. But so I guess those are the things I'm doing for my life to sort of make sure that I'm, you know, able to maintain my sobriety and continue being, you know, a good therapist and a good person. And yeah, I guess that's all the information I really have about myself.
Thank you. Doherty, do you have questions?
Yes, thank you. Have you ever utilized your California license?
No.
And if your license was taken off probation, would you come to California to utilize that license?
No.
Is your intention to surrender that license once it is off probation?
Yes.
Are you currently practicing as an occupational therapist in Nevada?
Yes. Home health.
Did you say home health?
Yes.
And what other states do you hold licensure in?
I think all of them have lapsed. So none.
None.
Other than Nevada.
Okay. And have you been disciplined by other states?
I have, as a result of what's happened in California, and I completed probation, a 3-year probation in Maryland. I completed the 3-year probation in Nevada. As you read, Colorado didn't need anything. Iowa didn't need anything. They all said as long as I maintain the Nevada terms and I'm in good standing, then they would take no further action. And then the American Occupational Therapy Association discussed doing something. It was many years ago, and I gave them information about my recovery, and they decided to just give me a verbal warning. I think that was in 2012, and then yeah. Anyway, so I'm in good standing with everybody, but there were yeah, now, but there was, I guess, I'm sorry, I'm forgetting what you asked, but they did have disciplinary action.
And as part of your Nevada probation, was there drug screening?
Mm-hmm.
And
Is that yes?
Yes, yes,
and how long were you drug tested?
3 years, I think. Whatever the entire term for the Nevada probation was, I think it was 3 years.
And are you still seeing a therapist?
Yeah. Yep, once a month.
I have nothing further for this petitioner.
Questions from the board members?
I have a question. Hi.
Hi.
I remember you from last year when we were here before, and you have provided a lot of information, a lot of evidence of rehabilitation in Nevada. I have a question about the how the other states operated. We have the provision of your California probation is that once you leave the state, the rehabilitation has to take place in the state, and that's where we're kind of in this, we have this clause that seems to be the issue. So did Maryland accept your Nevada? Were you in Maryland when you fulfilled the terms of probation, or were you in Nevada and Maryland accepted the experience that you had in Nevada as evidence of rehabilitation?
So Maryland, I didn't have to be practicing in Maryland. I did have to tell them I was no longer practicing in Maryland, and as long as I didn't violate any of their terms in those 3 years. So had I gotten arrested in Nevada, that would have affected but none of those things happened. So I was able to complete those that probation. You know, if anything negative, I did anything negative in Nevada, I would have violated that probation. So it just sort of stayed with me in the other state.
So they don't have that tolling where the clock stops
Right.
ticking?
No, nobody else has this.
And after this board had some difficulty, with this situation, because we have two choices: reinstate a full license with no restrictions, or continue probation. Those seem to be our only options. That was my understanding after the last time. This is a petition for early termination of probation, not for modification. So I'm a little unclear about that. Maybe that's not a question
There-
for you.
Oh, that's right.
It is a question for the court, but that's maybe for later.
Okay. Did you?
Can I? So it was pointed out to me, but there are two petitions in here. I don't know if they get blended together. So the first one will be the early term of probation, and then following that, you'll see another petition for modification.
I missed that.
So they're like sort of merged.
I was asked to do
Oh, I
both.
see. So it's that section. Okay.
Correct. So if you don't find on one, she's asking you to look at the other.
So what is, okay, sorry. I need to recheck that, because I missed that. Anyone else have a question? That's the modification, I see. And what is it about, we do have a process for people to surrender their license. It's, explain to me, if you could, why you have not pursued that avenue.
So my impression I've worked really hard to get in good terms with many institutions, many boards and stuff, and I am unwilling to have another flag when somebody does a background check for a job. I am unwilling to have something say I surrendered a license again, because it will come back and I haven't had anything negative that comes back for any new jobs, because this happened a long time ago, too long to show up. And so right now it just says that I'm in good terms on probation in the state of California, and that's much better than, so if I have to continue to pay for the license every 2 years and come and see you guys every year, then that's more worth it to me to have a good report, in all of these background checking agencies. just because I've worked too hard. I've been sober, 9 years now, and it's just not a good representation of who I am at this point and where I am at in my career. So I'm much more willing just to continue to maintain this probationary status than to have a surrender in my license. So the other idea is I don't know if there could be a modification where I just don't need to maintain the California license, because that's, I think, the other states didn't have that clause where you have to maintain an active license. So if I didn't have to so when Maryland and all the other ones just told, I guess would be the word, then I just discontinued and it wasn't an issue once I finished probation to show that I was in good standing, because that's important to me, right, to be completing that process. So that's sort of where I stand.
May I ask, so the Nevada probation was for the same incidents that were related to the California?
Yeah, everything is surrounding my failure of the UA in April 7th of 2010.
And currently you inform employers of your probationary status in California?
I don't have to, but when it comes up, it came up on the home health background check, because home health has a very extensive background check. And I explained to them what was going on, and they asked. I'm well known in the small therapy community of Reno, and so it wasn't an issue. But,
And is that different substantively from, if you surrender your license and have it noted that you've surrendered your license in 2019, let's say, in California, and it appears on a background check, or you're required to report that to a future employer, or to the Nevada board, will the Nevada board not know that that's the same incident that they've already?
no, it'll just flag. There's one reporting agency that I forget. It's a major medical for all medical people, and I'm forgetting right now what it's called, but that's the one that's creating issue.
The National Licensing Database.
Yes, that's the one, and all it's showing is that, so if it shows that I surrendered a license, there was one home health 2 years ago that I didn't get the job for just because they flagged it. And what happened is, since it was a major corporation, what they did is they just talked to their lawyers and said, no, this person is too high a risk because of this flag, and I wasn't able to defend myself. So if I'm not able to say, hey, listen, I've been sober 9 years, and then at that point, it's not very difficult for me to maintain employment. But when people go over my head and just see this flag, I'm unable to defend myself, and it looks like I could potentially still be out there, doing whatever. So that's
And your
the problem.
California probationary status does not show up on the national database?
Well, I'm in good standing with you, so it's not an issue. But a surrender, I don't know, would be a new flag. And your probation is an old flag, so it's like, I don't even know if it's a flag. I just know that I got a flag from the initial surrender, and that was bad. But I think that was in 2010, right? So obviously I'm not 100% sure. I just am unwilling to get another flag. And the one I have right now is okay as far as being on probation and good standing is not an issue.
It isn't uncommon for someone to go through the surrender process. It is uncommon to have this question come up with it for reinstatement or modification. So that's why I'm asking why. That's why I'm asking why. Any other questions from anyone else?
All right. Do you have any closing remarks?
No.
All right.
I have no closing remarks.
Great. No closing remarks. All the exhibits have been admitted. This concludes a petition hearing in this matter. The record is closed. The case is submitted. We can go off the record. If you'll pick up the billing detail report from the court reporter, please.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Do I keep this or give it back?
You
I
can
keep
keep
it. Okay, great.
Go ahead to close session.
At this time, we'd like to go into closed session. We will reopen later, only to adjourn. So you are welcome to stay and come back for that, but it may not be very enlightening to do so. Thank you. Thank you all for attending.